This video will provide you with information on how you can build a pretty solid heavy duty set of stairs, three-step set of stairs, three risers, and you could always use this for a four riser situation if it would work for you. So 7 3/4 inch rise, 11-inch tread, 1 1/8 plywood. It's going to be about 32 inches wide. And actually, this video was inspired because someone sent me in a thing on my other stair building channel. They said I built the same thing out of 3/4 inch plywood, and someone said, "Hey, can a large hog walk up this thing?" 450-pound hog, I believe it was. And I thought now might be a good time to make a video on a heavy-duty stairway, and here goes. So we're going to start with a piece of 1 1/8 plywood. Square edge. If you have tongue and groove plywood, you might need to alter some of the measurements, move some of this stuff around to make it work. And I will provide you with measurements at the end of the video because I thought it would be better to get an idea how it's actually built. So you're going to cut your stairway into pieces. These will be the treads. This will be the tread supports for the risers. And this will be the second and the third riser, the bottom riser, the back, and of course the sides. Let's go ahead and start with the two sides and the back, and we will fasten them together here like so. The back, this can actually go on the other side. I'll leave that up to you. You would need to change the measurements on it. We're going to put it in this way because a lot of times when someone's building a little stairway, it might be for a mobile home or a trailer or large farm animals for that matter. It looks nicer to look at this side, and if we were to take and cut this and run it through, you would see kind of a line going down the side where it intersects, and a lot of people don't want to see that. So, and you can nail these together with 8D nails, I would imagine. You can screw these together. What type of screws? I would say maybe a number 8. A number 6 might work. Number 8, though, 2 3/4. That would be just fine. 2 5/8, something like that should work. And but I'll leave that up to you, just as long as it attaches. And you can glue all of these components together too. Put glue on top of the stringers over here, glue on top of this. Wherever you make a connection, you can use construction, adhesive, or even regular carpenter's glue for that matter. Fasten the lower riser to the side stringers, and then you're going to need to attach the tread supports to the risers. And again, this can be glued and screwed together, and they will line up with the top here. This is our riser height, 7 3/4 inches. And I believe I made this about 9.5 inches. It's a little bit longer. You can make it 10 inches if you want, and you can make the tread support wider if you want also. But this actually just provides us with a little more support. And I don't see people doing this on stairs like this, but I really think it's a good idea, really, and especially if you're trying to make a stronger stairway. I've seen people put just a regular 3/4 inch tread across this plywood, and it moves in the center. So with this right here, you can put the support in here, and you're probably thinking, "Now, wait a minute, I can screw the tread to the back." In plywood and stuff like that, or OSB, you walk up something like this, put enough pressure on it, and you're going to break the plywood. So this seems to be a far superior idea. So, but I'll leave that up to you. Now, my measurements will provide a gap here. If you don't want a gap in here, go ahead and change the measurement. I believe I subtracted 1.5 inches off of each side, so the gap should be about 3/8 of an inch. Reason why I did that is not uncommon to cut all your pieces and go to nail them together and then find out that this piece is a little longer and it's pushing the stringer out. So this could save you a little bit of frustration if you want to line everything up and not worry about that. But I do understand there's some perfectionists out there who aren't going to want to do that. They're going to want to make sure everything is tight. Nail the treads on or screw them on again, and you'll be able to put screws in the back into the support. And if you want, you could always go under the stairway and put some additional screws there too. But I really don't think that'd be necessary for something like this. You know, I see sometimes people go in and they put screws in from the back of the riser into the tread. Not going to be necessary with the tread support here. Just providing you with a couple extra views here. And there's your stairway. Okay, let's go ahead and go over some of the measurements. 2 foot 8 inches, 32 inches. I just simply divided the sheet of plywood up into 3 sections. It's an 8-foot piece of plywood, 32 inches, 32, 32 equals 8 foot. 11-inch treads, 11-inch wide. And the base, and these are identical. So I'm not going to, I think I'm only going to provide you with measurements for this part here, but should give you an idea of what this is over here. And we are subtracting 1 1/8 inches here. The 1 1/8 inches is for the riser. Once we put a riser on here, it's going to, if we didn't cut this back, we would need a larger tread at the top here. So to keep all of our treads equal distance, we will need to cut 1 1/8 inches off of our 11-inch top step. And again, I'm putting the measurements in the back. You can watch the video as many times as you need to. You go back, you watch the video again, and you'll see what I'm talking about here. So the bottom, here's the bottom riser, and then over here is the bottom riser. This will be the first step on this side, and then this would be the first step on this side. So you could always lay out this part right here and then simply trace it to the other side, but this should work out right here, doing it this way just fine. 2 foot 7 7/8 roughly here. And again, these measurements are exact because I'm drawing it in a computer program. So if you're off a little bit, I don't think it's going to be a big deal. 1 foot 10 1/8 is going to be the overall height. Here's 2 foot 8 inches again. This just goes straight on through. Our bottom riser, the second riser, the third riser, and then our tread supports that attach to the riser. This is the back. So 2 foot 8 inches, 2 foot 5 3/4. Remember, we have to subtract 2 1/4 inches from the width of the stairway to put this in the middle, in between the two stringer supports here. So let's go ahead and go over some of the measurements again. I know I made a video on this with a 3/4 inch stairway and had to make another video because nobody could see the measurements. And if that's a problem, let me know. But again, I'm going to be telling you what they are. 2 foot 8 inches. This is the tread. 11 inches wide. 2 foot 7 7/8 inches bottom. We subtracted the 1 1/8 inch. This will be a scrap piece of wood we will get rid of. Hopefully you can see this. 1 foot 10 1/8. It's not cut off in my video there. 2 foot 8 inches. 6 5/8 inches will be the height of our first riser. 2 foot 5 3/4 inches wide. 1 foot 10 1/8 inches tall. That's the backboard. 11 inches, 2 foot 8. Go to another piece here, and we will go over the risers here and some of our cutouts. So all of these measurements pertain to the risers and the tread supports here. So hopefully it doesn't get confusing. 1 3/4 inches. Remember, this is 7 3/4 inch rise. This is basically where we come up with this. If you were going to make this 10 inches, just make sure that this is 7 3/4 inches right here, or 7 5/8 would be fine. It's going to be 1.5 inches in. If you don't like that and you want it to be 1 1/8 inch, this is where you're going to change it. Change it to 1 1/8 inch or 1 3/8 inches maybe, and or I should say 1 1/4 inch. and that'd give you 1/8 of an inch if you did do it 1.25 inch play at least. So this right here is where you're going to change it if you don't want the gap. Like I said, 9.5 inches. Yours can go a little longer if you want, depending upon how big of a tread support you want to attach to it. And these measurements are basically the same as they were on the other side. The strips are going to be 2 foot 5 inches, and again, you can cut them a little longer if you want them to be tighter. And I made them about 1.5 inches wide. You can always make these a little larger too. So 1.5 inches tall, 2 foot 5 inches wide. Okay, our stringer, 2 foot 7 7/8, 1 foot 10 1/8, 9 7/8 inches on the top. Remember, we're going to put a riser on here, and the riser here is going to bring this to 11 inches if we add 1 1/8 riser to it. 7 3/4 inch rise. Next step is going to be 11 inches. Again, 7 3/4 inches rise there. And then, of course, the last step is going to be 11 inches with a 6 5/8 of an inch rise. This will be the first or the bottom step. So anyway, that's it for this video. And